Yo, what's good? It's the middle of the night, but I had a very eventful family day today with my son and my wife, so I didn't get to record earlier, so I'm gonna do it now. But I really wanted to record because I'm super excited to talk about this. Last night I was playing some Mirror, and I got some lessons which I just want to share with you. I want to get straight to the point. Obviously, in the Imu Mirror, you need to play the one cost stage, and I'm showing you this because I got the PRB all out. Thank you, Phil, because it's my boy Phil who pulled that out and sold it to me. Thank you very much. So, lesson number 1. You want to be pressuring the opponent, right? It seems like the person, who has the best 10-don turns, etc. kind of wins, but actually the Imu Mirror is decided way earlier than that. It's actually decided before you get the 10-don. That's at least how I feel. Again, I'm not a professional, just sort of what I'm feeling like, right? Also, I got some advice from Impact. He also confirmed that just putting pressure on the opponent early is very good, right? But what is the best way of doing it? The goal is to actually drop 2 4 costs, either the blocker and Saturn the searcher, but you want to play 2 of those in one turn, following up by Jupiter, the 7 cost, which gives plus 2k to both of those, right? Which means when you play him, both of those, which technically should be still standing, can attack for 7k each, right? And that is usually on either on the 9-don turn or the 8-don turn, right? So why is this important? Because technically Imu is actually pretty liberal, it's like pretty freely takes the first life, generally takes the first life automatically. And also, if you give it another 7k swing, he usually will take the second life as well. Suddenly he's down to 2 life, and I will have to defend 2 7ks going in, right? And then he can very easily be left on 0 or on 1 life, and just struggling for it at the moment because he constantly has to go in for your board, and you might be still left on 3 to 4 life, right? So that's kind of the swing, I feel like, is where you kind of win it, where you can play both of those out in one turn, right? And then follow it up with this one. And the way you do it, obviously, is like going, I'm going to quickly go through it going first. On going first, you obviously have you have 1 don, you can play one of the 2 searchers. And then you have 3 don, and for 3 don, you can play one of the 4 costs, right? You want to be swinging everything all the time. After that, you are on 5 don. On 5 don, you can play one of the 2 6 costs, okay? One of the 2 6 costs, and then preferably the rush one, quite honestly, or obviously the 6th one, the 6 cost one, the markers who can KO a sub 4 cost. You gotta have to look in the trash. So if Imu doesn't have 7 cards in trash, none of those are actually protected, so you can KO something with this, okay, which is 4 cost or less. Well, which is just 4 cost. So just keep an eye out for it, but I do prefer to, play the rush one because, again, I want to be pressuring it. Then on the 7-don turn, right? On the 7-don turn, you'll play for 6 2 4s, and then on the 9-don turn, you'll play the 7 out, right? You could even follow up with another 4 on top of that, because you can go 6 and 6 and 3, right? So that's kind of how you're looking at it. If you go first, again, I repeat, you want to go for the searchers, then the 4 cost, then Najuro, right, the racer, unless they don't have 7 cards in trash, then you can just KO something with markers, then play 2 4 costs again, 2 4 costs on 7, and then on 9 play the 7, and then just keep swinging into the life, keep swinging all of it into life, and then you feel like that actually the other Imu is constantly struggling for it, right? Because again, they don't necessarily expect it that much. They're used to it, kind of expect you going for board, but I just kept swinging everything into life. Again, it might not be the best. It's just what I have from my experience yesterday. And then going second, basically the same thing, right? You search on 2 don, then on 4 don you play a 4 cost, right? On 4 Dawn, you play the 4 cost. On 6 Dawn, here comes the better. That's why I like going second, obviously. And not only you can get obviously the 10 Dawn first, but on 6 Dawn, you can actually already play the 2 4 costs. So this is not one of them. Sorry, it's a little late at night. You can already play the 2 4 costs and then follow it up with the Jupiter, right? So tip number 1, try to get 2 4 costs out at the same time and then follow it up with the Jupiter. Okay, tip number 2, which I have received yesterday. You don't want to be keeping too many of the 1 cost events, all right? I actually don't ever find a moment where I can play it. If you have multiple of them in hand, just use it, right? But I do prefer, if I see them in my search, just to put them back into the deck, because I would like to pull them later on. If I maybe run out of 10 costs, then I would like to pull all of those 1 costs. But they in my hand don't do actually ever anything, because if I do have the 1 Dawn, I either want to attach it and swing it, or then I may then just use it or use it for a search. But it's really rarely that I need really more than 1 of the 2 events in my hand, right? So the reason for that is because the 10 cost actually, in combination with the 1 cost stage, on his turn uses all your 10 Dawn. You don't actually have a White Dawn open, right? And then when you just have them in your hand, they're just dead because they're not doing anything, right? You will never need those if you're playing the 10 cost chain, ever. That is really important. That's why when you see them in search, maybe pick one up that you want to play. You can see yourself playing somewhere in the middle rounds. But apart from that, try to keep them all in the deck. And if they're in your hand, just use them for trash and the lead ability, right? For example. Or use them for the trash, for the 10 cost. Because I saw myself yesterday when I was playing, and I actually don't know where all of them are right now. But like I had, because I'm used to keeping all the 1 cost events, and at some point I had like 3 to 4 in my hand, and I just could do nothing with them, because the minute you get the 10 cost chain, it's impossible, right? Yes. So summarizing, tip number 2: try actually not to keep any events in your hand, and try to keep them all in your deck. That's like the really important thing. Like, try to keep them all in your deck, because there was games where you do 4 of the 10 cost change, and then the game is not over, and then you kind of don't have a 10 cost to play anymore. Suddenly you have bunch of done up, and then you can like just imagine like pulling like 2-3 of those 1 events and just defending everything you have. That is really, really good. So again, don't keep too many of the 1 cost events. That was tip number 2. Did I have anything else? I don't know if I had another tip. Oh, exactly. So tip number 3, and this is the last tip, and I'll let you guys go, is that you kind of have to really, like, people are saying that you need to keep an eye and think about the stack which you have in your deck, right? But in the mirror specifically, keep an understanding of where are the 10 costs, okay? This is really important. If you ever see it in the search, don't ever let it go into trash. Pick it up immediately, right? Because there's almost every single game I had to use like 3 to 4 of them, right? So don't ever let them go into trash. Always keep them in hands. But also keep in your mind, if you see in the search, if you don't see like, if you do like a Saturn search, right? And suddenly you see 2 in those top 5, right? Then you understand that somewhere in the stack is another one. And always put it like at the very top, because you will need it. Like, put it to the very top immediately, as high as you can possibly can. And then, why am I saying this? I had a game where I believe only saw 3 of them, and then still had 2 live. And when I got to the top of my stack again, when I got once around, I realized that one of them wasn't live. So I purposely took actually both lives, because he wasn't the last one, just so I could do my 10 cost chain again, right? So it is kind of important to really keep track of those 10 costs, because if you get one in live and it's in you on 2 live, and then you realize that, okay, I'm through the deck, I have only seen 3, the last ones need to be in my live, right? So you just you just have to take those swings then immediately, because you need it. So that is my tip number 3. Keeping track of the tank cost. Never let it go to trash, like from a search. Always put it to the top when you do the walker research, right? Because you'll need it. And just keep in track, just make sure that it's not, well, at least to recognize that it might be in your life. So that is it from me today. Tomorrow I will be going to a local, but since there's still no OP13, I will be playing GP because it's PRB2 and I have to play something. So I'll be playing GP and I'll keep you up to date on that. I don't know if the store will let me record, but if I do, maybe I can get some games down and I'll record some games for us. If not, I'll figure something else out. Till tomorrow. Bye.